Ja, det er alle.
Vi kører. Okay. Resten må bare komme undervejs. Okay. All right, we're looking forward to this day, opening the Nordic Performing Arts Days here in Copenhagen, with at the same time having a Reumert Salon, supported by Bikubenfonden. My name is Susanne Dani, and I'm the director of the Danish ITI. 2 years, and then I'll just have to see here. While I'm talking, I hope that they will be showing a lot of pictures, which are all from the platform that we have just been doing in Aalborg, Aarhus, and Odense. So you can enjoy that while I'm talking. 2 years ago, we were in Iceland for the Nordic Performing Arts Days, and we were having a great time with workshops and festivals and meetings with other Nordic colleagues. And at a certain point, we were asked to do the Nordic Performing Arts Days in Denmark. And I was very tempted to say no to this, because actually ITI was not an organization. It was only a board. There was no office. There was no one employed. And it was a bit hard for us to take on this task of organizing this. But at the table, sitting next to me, was also Simon Boberg, who's up here, director of Husets Teater, and he had just told me about this new idea that they had about doing the Copenhagen stage. And at the same table was also Miriam Fransen and Kerstin Andersen from the continuing education at the Performing Arts School. I think I got it right. And I looked at them and said, I cannot do it, but if you want to do it together with me, let's do it. And for me, that has been the leading star of organizing these days. The collaboration, the doing it together. And when we came back from Iceland, Aalborg came and said, oh, we want to do the days in Aalborg. Because Mikkel Flyvholm and Jakob Højgaard had this idea about creating a network for young theater artists in the Nordic countries. And then Aarhus came and said, oh, we want to do it also. And we were looking at each other and saying, okay, maybe it doesn't need to be in Copenhagen. Maybe it doesn't need to be in one space. Maybe we can make a caravan. And then we kind of missed Odense, so we convinced Assetais to do a platform in Odense for young audience, with theater for young audiences. In Aarhus, it has been the Danseværket and Charlotte Mors, and it's been Aarhus, the Performing Arts Center of Aarhus with Kasper Egelund, who has been helping us. And in Odense, it was the Danish Assetais Center and Nørgaards Teater. Dirk, Louis, and Carsten did a lot of work on that. And this has been the core group of organizing these Performing Arts Days. And we've been working together for more than a year to realize this. We didn't have a lot of money when we started out. We didn't know exactly what we were going to do. We created it together. It turned out along the way that Copenhagen Stage was realized was a big success last year. And Morten Krogh has been a really great partner in a collaborating partner for doing these Performing Arts Days. So thank you to Morten also. Simon just went ahead and took on doing the Nordic drama training on behalf of us at Husets Teater. So the caravan kind of grew naturally out of ideas and networks. And besides the core crew that I mentioned just now, we did an open ceremony. We asked everybody in the Danish art community, in the Nordic arts community, to give in their ideas about what they thought was the most exciting things to discuss at this moment in time around the performing arts. And a lot of people have contributed to organizing and giving ideas into this. And I'm explaining this just to make you understand how really collaborative these days are. First of all, I had to just mention some of them. Some of you were just at the Royal Theatre together with Alette Scavenius this morning. There was also a dramaturgical workshop organized by the Dramaturgical Association of Denmark with Line Bjørk and a lot of other people. some of you were at the Copenhagen International Theatre visiting Katrine Verwild out there. Tomorrow, some of you will be taking part in a session that TIO, the Theatre Association of Denmark, organized. And the independent stage artist with Britt Uldal also are doing a platform tomorrow. Warehouse 9 and Jørgen Callesen is doing a platform Friday. And the Drama Front with Ria Lehmann is also doing a platform. And finally, Teater Group is doing a platform. Then, I just have to thank two persons that have been helping me really a lot these last couple of months. And one of them is Annika Lewis, who is part of organizing this seminars taking place out here. And then Jeremy, he's probably out there still working, but Jeremy took over all the logistics, and I have to thank him a lot. I think we did magic together organizing these days. And I think that it shows, for me at least, and I hope that the rest of you can see it also, that when you work together, you can actually do quite extraordinary things. And this is proven also by the Copenhagen stage, of course, the idea about that you collaborate on what we're doing. There has been a lot of resources from a lot of other people going into these performing arts days. All the artists who have shown some wonderful work already, who are still showing a lot of wonderful work, all the people behind, all the technical crew and the people in the offices, all the speakers that you're going to hear, all the international guests who are here, who has participated in the debates along the way. And we wanted to bring something. We have been going on this caravan together. 5 of us have actually taken the whole caravan. So we wanted to bring to you something from the other cities to kind of fuel the energy of what is going to happen here in Copenhagen. So I brought 3 items with me, which is down here on the floor, and you can look at it. From Aalborg, we brought a book by Superflex. They did a lecture up there about how to work collectively and how to do political actions on a collectively base. And it's a very nice book that you can look at. From Aarhus, I brought some mint. Because in Aarhus, we had these really nice discussions about how we need to be slow in the performing arts. How the artistic quality is actually slow when it's best. That is when we lose ourselves in time, that we can actually get the very original ideas. And this mint was supposed to be from Christine Fence's garden. She made a wonderful dinner for us, just talking for a long time. And the last thing is a tablecloth we did in Odense, where Dirk Bakker asked us to just put all our comments and ideas on this tablecloth. And you can walk around and see all these ideas that I hope we can bring into the debate here today. And I'm just happy to see all of you, and I'm convinced that what we are doing here, working together, can actually fuel the society that we are living in, and that the performing arts can be a transformative power in our society. And this I really hope you will learn now by hearing to these wonderful people that you're going to hear on. So thank you very much.
Introducing, and now I'd like to introduce our wonderful panel today. I think they're wonderful, just as you are, because you are here in spite of the heat. So I would first like to introduce Alessandro Mistrios from Greek. He's an artist, and he will explain to you what kind of an artist he is. And then we have Peter. Sorry, I'm already messing up. This is Peter Wittrup. And he's a senior advisor at the Seismonaut. He's a consulting firm. And we have Christopher Engdahl, who is a researcher and lecturer, senior lecturer at the Karlsruhe Universitet from Sweden. Karlstad. That's true. Karlstad University at Sweden. And we have Dita Maria Bjerg, who's an artistic director. She's been directing a lot of plays, and now she has her own docu-fiction company, Global Stories. And we'll start with Alessandros. But I just have to mention that we are one man down. Christian Have, unfortunately, is unable to be here today. But I'm really rather thrilled that he's not here because we are already short of time. So to give us some time to also hopefully have some debate afterwards. I think it's quite fantastic today to see that we are in the middle of these two platforms, Copenhagen Stage and also the Nordic Performance Days. I mean, two initiatives that are examples of co-creation and bottom-up procedures, way of working. And I really feel that this is as a kind of very optimistic examples of how culture can actually, what kind of action that culture can take today. It points to a new direction of another kind of a cultural agency and empowerment of the artists and the performing artists. And this is what we're going to talk about today. I mean, new strategies for the performing artist in a time of crisis. I mean, economic crisis, crisis of values, crisis of the environment. We are at a quite, I think many times would feel this, but I really feel that this is a critical point of time, a kind of a pivotal junction that we are standing at the moment. And what we can see within the culture is a kind of that two overall strategies. Cultures right now being marginalized, which we'll talk about Europe right now. So we see two strategies taking place, and one is for the more mainstream culture to become more commercialized, to kind of be more socially affirmative and accept quite, okay, culture is now just the entertainment industry. And the other part of culture, I mean, is a much more upfront strategy, really delegating to culture a kind of active leadership that regarding culture to be a new tool to change, of social change. And it's a question of empowerment and seeing the artist as someone who can actually contribute to our society in a much more central way than just doing pretty little performances in the margins and the corners. So, and this latter strategy, this is really what we're going to talk about today. And we will start by to kind of get, Susanne has been very ambitious about this opening panel. I mean, the mere, she called it the performing arts facing globalization, digitalization and co-creation. This is quite an agenda, and we have some ground to cover. So therefore I'm really happy that we have 4 specialists in each their specific area. And we'll start by Alessandros, and he will present himself to you, and he will also talk about the relation between the arts and society, technology and politics. Please welcome Alessandros.
There's no stand for the microphone.
Do you want me to be your stand? No.
It's just that talking like this for 25 minutes. So, hello. My name is Alexandros Mysteriotis, and I'm really glad to be here. It's my first time in Denmark, and it's my first time in a Scandinavian country. And I've been so well received that I feel that I am surrounded by friends. Being in that position there's a lot of solitude, but with a little help of my friends, I guess I will manage to cover the vast field that I'm supposed to cover. The title of my speech is The Tragic Happy End. And I will try to talk about the topics that were mentioned, about the arts, about politics, about technology, and I will turn around the notion of the end. In Greek language, the word end and the word goal, destination, death are one word, is the word telos. So we will make some circles by trying to solve the relationships between these basic notions. And since I don't know if my Greek jokes could go through, I will start in a really serious way. And I will read you the inscription on the grave of Aeschylus. Aeschylus, you probably all know, was one of the three classic tragic poets. So I will read it. Beneath this stone lies Aeschylus, son of Aphorion the Athenian, who perished in the wheat-bearing land of Yela. Of his noble prowess, the grove of Marathon can speak, and the long-haired Persian knows it well. But there is something peculiar that has been historically referenced again and again. It doesn't mention at all his theatrical practice. It doesn't mention at all the 70 to 90 plays he wrote. It doesn't mention the competitions that he won, the characters that he created, and the respect that he had in all the world, the Greek-speaking world. So the first question that arises is, was it because he was underestimating his practice, his service, his art? Well, we have reasons to believe that this is not the case. Aeschylus was the most pious and the most religious of all poets. And his gift, apparently, Pausanias says, that was coming directly from the god. It was Dionysus that, in a dream, invited him to write plays. And then he would write easily. And there's also a wonderful comedy by Aristophanes, which is called The Frogs, that you probably already know, which is one of the first theater plays that talks about theater, where you have a competition between Euripides and Aeschylus. The judge is Dionysus, that goes to the underworld in order to find a guy that could raise the quality of the city. And Aeschylus is chosen. And by the way, one of the arguments that he's using is that at his time there were no deserters in the Athenian army. So there's a close connection, and what happens is that the notion of the struggle is really identical to the one and the other. And this could be an example of the notion, the position, and the relationship, the really difficult dialectic relationship that art has as a function in a societal system. And I would like to make a connection to our current situation. We talk a lot about sustainability. We already mentioned the new policies about culture, the way that we consider art as a commodity, as a product, and the fact that culture today is something that covers football, that covers Disneyland, and theater plays like Shakespeare or Ibsen, and there's a problem with that. So what is the difference between sustainability and survival? I think this question could help us understand one of the problems of the discourse that is leading the way right now in cultural policy. Because survival means that you have the right to do anything in order to survive. Sustainability, no. When we're talking about sustainability, we're talking about knowing what we will do in order to keep a function alive. In a way, in an emphatic way, thank you, I would say that sustainability is first and foremost about the things that we will not do in order to maintain the quality and the function that we have to keep in order to remain artists and agents of something much more broad in space and in time. And in order to make that even more clear, I would invite you to think about the notion of failure. It's simple. Could we possibly have a financial failure, which is an artistic accomplishment? Could we possibly have an artistic failure, which is a financial triumph? And do poets, writers, painters, sculptors of the past, would they pass the criteria of the actual cultural policy? I doubt it. So, I should probably tell you that recently, because of the European presidency of Greece in the European Union, there were a lot of policymakers, high-level policymakers, that we had the chance to listen to them. And they were really electrified. They had this air of the prophet. And their message was, first of all, that culture is economy. And the second one was that, yes, you can make money out of culture. Okay. But the thing is that right now, with this priority, we've changed completely the balance in the cultural field. And this will be more apparent in the years to come. So, if we say that art is not about money, which is not completely true, we're just trying to find a more balanced discourse, we should say, what is it then? And the truth is that this question should remain unanswered. But since it would be too much not to say anything, I will try to say 2 or 3 things about the function of art. You probably remember the moment that tragedy was born. It is, you have a chorus, and you have a narcissistic guy that thinks that he's more important than the others, who knows, that separates himself. And then he addresses the chorus. In that moment, we have a separation. And separation, chorismos, in Greek, is related to the word choros, which is space. So what happens is that he creates a new space. And I would suggest that the art is creating a new space in which we can reflect, a mirror, in which we can see ourselves and understand better our problems, our qualities, our desires, and the things that are lacking. I think that one of the main things that art can contribute as well is to liberate us from meaning, give space to things that don't have a specific meaning. It's like children who play, and when you ask them why, they just tell you, I do it because I want to do it. This space, which is not rationalized, which is out of the description, the possible descriptions that we have, is the space of emergence of things that are the most dear, the most important, and the less instrumentalized. So, by defending the human enigma, we are obliged to go directly to the performing arts. Because I think that talking about art in general is not enough. I think that we should probably try to say 2 or 3 words about why the performing arts. in a world of quantifying logic, where everything must be objectified and must be solved, that everything can be stable, where we must have the certainty of the description of a knowledge and the control of things, we have these theater plays, these dance plays, these performances that include humanity, man. And man has a lot of defects, and these defects are protecting the work from being an object. So specifically, I think that in the world of the performing arts, we have this possibility to reaffirm the uniqueness of our presence in space and time. The ephemeral character of theater and dance has made it even more important today, especially because we have this digitization of our reality. In order to digitize, we have to create a quantified model, and we have to be able to store things. The fact that we have forms of art that we cannot store, that we cannot put in a hard disk, that we cannot really put on the internet, is exactly the strong point and the important dark place that is giving hope and space in order to expand, in order to wander. So I would say that if art is a commodity, then humanity is becoming a commodity too. But since I talked about technology in a somewhat negative way, I think I must come back and talk a little bit more about it. Please don't let me be misunderstood. Technology is a huge issue, and there's a lot of confusion. We think that books are not technology, but actually letters, the alphabet, all these things are technological. In reality, we call technology the tools that we haven't so far integrated in our reality. So technology are the tools that are visible to us, that they're tools. And I will try to go back and start a little bit, in a way, from the start, just in order to have a common narrative with you. In the beginning, we have the city, polis. Okay, in the city, we have the civilization, which is the way that we can solve, negotiate problems, understand situation, go forward. And its civilization is facing problems. And the tools that he creates in order to solve them are what we call technology. But always these tools create a lot of instability. They create rhythms of progress that we're not prepared to understand. And they change constantly in human history, these phases that culture, civilization, and technology are not in the same rhythm. These periods, sometimes we call them revolutions, like the Industrial Revolution that completely changed and probably destroyed as well, but gave a lot of things to our humanity. But just imagine what happened when somebody had the first spear and he could kill all the deers in the neighborhood, so he probably killed them all and then nobody had something to eat. So they had to find new rules, new values, new ways to control, organize space and time in order to create a control of these mechanisms, these new tools. So the most interesting and the thing that makes us so afraid today is the fact that the crises are becoming more and more close one to another. We just had the digital revolution, and before this ends, it looks like we will have the biotechnology revolution, and this will be
even more destabilizing. So we have this feeling of anxiety. But in my opinion, this process of absorbing these tools is something that artists especially have a lot of things to say. Because this front is going to define what we consider as human today, tomorrow, and the day after tomorrow. So it is partly for those who feel that they are concerned, it is part of our work with a critical distance to get in this battle. To make this thing even more clear, I will give you an example. One of the most scary things is robotics. We've all seen films where robots replace humans. And it is true that in robotics, in an unconscious way, most of the time, there's a big philosophical desire to explain what is the human being. And since the question is an unbearable state, we prefer that the human being actually is a machine and that robots are equals to men. And we have the theory of the technological singularity, things that you've probably heard, probably not, it doesn't matter. The most important thing is that most of the robots have the tendency to be human-like. And this is not by chance, and this is ancient. Since the ancient times, in many mythologies, we have references about machines that are human-like. In my opinion, what will happen is the equivalent of what happened with photography and painting. I don't know if you remember, you've heard probably in the history of the arts, that when photography came, everybody used to say that now painting is over. But what happened is that painting actually was liberated from this imitating function, and it found a more profound, a more substantial, louder? I should pick? Oh, okay. So, a more substantial way to function. So, in my opinion, what will happen is that the robots are going to show us that we are not emotions, we are not movement, we are not thinking, we are not this process of improving oneself, and they will show how humanity is a slight amount of shadow, of impossible to describe, unknown thing that we have no word to call it. And probably if we stick to that, we will manage to liberate man from a lot of his ideas. But in order to do that, we must keep our ground. I think, just to finish the technology part, that in our battle with technology, the most probable is that we will lose. I'm not so optimistic. It's not that we will create something wonderful. We will most probably get this bitter feeling of dependence from technique, from tools. But I think that it's the same when we struggle with language. Still, we feel that language is like conquering us, and there are moments that we don't know if language speaks us and if we speak the language. And it is probable that life is an initiation to this knowledge of being powerless, which makes us powerful because we embrace this state. So now I will try to connect our discussion to the notion of time and especially politics, but in a more broader sense. I hope you're not tired. Huh? Okay. So, being Greek and referring all the time to ancient times, etc., is a problem. I guess it's like you when you say there's something rotten in the state of Denmark, etc. But it is true that it's much more easy to talk about this area because it's really distant. It's a friendly space that we can easily reflect upon. And I find that the Roman era is even more adequate in order to understand the political situation. You probably know already the notion of the dictator. In the Roman Empire, for a period, we had this function that when there was an emergency state, we would give absolute power to a person, that would be the dictator, to deal with the problem. And you've probably heard about Carl Schmitt, a political theorist that wrote in the 30s. He was actually, for a short period, a member of the Nazi Party, and he said that the one who controls the political field is the one who can declare the state of emergency. And I can tell you, or I can, it's my position, that I don't know how you feel it here in Denmark, that all situations right now, not only in Europe, are decided under the shadow of the state of emergency. And that we are constantly dealing with dilemmas. And that way, we are constantly in a state of exception. And I would like to ask you whether you have any idea, if you can declare a state of emergency, or otherwise, who is declaring today the state of emergency and the state of exception? If you answer this question, then you can have a much more clear image of the actual situation. And that means that controlling time is very important today. Whenever you feel that somebody is forcing you to act in a state of emergency, under pressure, this is the moment that you and me, we have to stop and try to reconnect with our needs and our desires that are already so difficult to see clearly. So now I'm arriving to the exit of my presentation. In a situation of crisis, we all have this urge to participate in a very active or constructive way to the political situation. And this temptation is very important in the field of the arts. But there's a problem. We never know if we are good. And the domain of politics is the domain of power. Because in order to make a better world, you need the power to change it. And I would like to remind you the history of Oedipus. I don't know if there's somebody here that wants to listen again to that story. Is there anyone? No. Yeah. Okay. I will say it again then, and I'll try to do it fast. So Oedipus was born, and his father, who is a king, heard the prophecy that this little thing is going to kill him and marry his mother and his wife. So he takes him, he throws him out of his kingdom, and by miracle he is saved by Zephyrus. Another king and another queen are taking him under their protection. And when he grows up, he goes to Delphi, and there's another prophecy that tells to this young boy, this young man, the same thing, that if you go back to your father and to your mother's place, you will kill your father and you will marry your mother. But he doesn't know that he's adopted, so he tries not to go to his other parents. And in that way, he finally kills his father and marries his mother. The thing is that by doing so, this man, he has to enter in the city. In the entrance, there is the Sphinx. And the Sphinx is offering an enigma to all people, all passers-by. And the enigma says, what has one voice, walks with 4 legs, then with 2 legs, and then with 3 legs. There are a lot of versions, actually, of the enigma. And the answer is man. And when he answers, then the Sphinx commits suicide. And what happens is that after a while, there is a plague that falls in the city, and people are dying, and the city is suffering, and Oedipus is trying to solve the problem, and finally, it's because of him. It's because a killer who married his mother, and he killed his father, is the king. So it's the curse of the city. The important thing, though, is that this man is wise because he has this knowledge. He solved the enigma. And during all the time of the tragedy, all the people tell him, you are the savior of the city, and you shouldn't search for the truth because it will hurt you, but he still wants to learn the truth and nothing but the truth. So this man is a righteous man. It's a wise man. But finally, he's the worst thing on earth. So what happens is that we can never be sure. And it is really interesting that this was shown right in the start. So living in that doubt is an impossible state, and the desire for certainty, for something stable, is a natural impulse in man. In the end of a lot of tragedies, we have what we call apomechanisteos, Deus ex machina, which means the God that comes, that goes down with a machine. What happens is that in all these plays, we get into a situation where there's no solution. We encounter the impossible. And at that moment, the solution is given with this God that goes down with the machine, which is actually a non-solution. And I would like to end with this. Finally, I tried to make it faster. So, yeah. But the end is not a solution. I could give you some wonderful examples, but you're lucky enough because the time is over. So the point is that this state of impossible is the moment that we touch the limit and the true nature of the situation. It is the moment when we see the emergence of culture, of politics, and of our humanity. It is the moment that we will not solve in an automatic way things, but we have to make decisions. It is like forgiveness, which is not a forgiveness if it is not impossible. And this is quite current even in the tragedy. In my opinion, this impossible state that we find in tragedy and we solve in such a transparent way as a decision of man is the end of all roads, and it awaits us in all the beginnings. Thank you.
Thank you a lot, Alexander. I just want to point to a few key words that we should keep in mind. You had a very beautiful phrase of the role of art as defending the human enigma. I mean, going all back to this grave of Aeschylus. What is inside this grave? This is the human enigma, and this is what art deals with. So this is, on the one hand, what art is trying to do to liberate us from meaning, as Alexander put it. And this notion of art is counterposed by the notion of art as commodity and the desire to capitalize and instrumentalize and quantify art. So this is another thing, and just as we begin to talk about new strategies, new cultural strategies, there are already some very heavy economic forces ready to capitalize on these new strategies. This is just something we have to bear in mind. And to pass on the word, I'll just mention what Alessandro's also touched on with regard to digitalization, and talking about these new powerful tools, that they can also be a way of liberating man, just like art can. So your approach is not an artistic one, Peter, but you're going to talk about how the users, the ordinary people, how our audiences in the performing arts, how they can also benefit from the social platforms.
Yep, a shift of themes here. I guess, hi, I'm Peter. And thank you for the invitation. I've been looking forward to it. I'm a little on, what's it called, udebane here. It's not I'm not an artist, as you said, but I work with user engagement in different industries in my professional life, so hopefully this can add to the discussion in some way. I want to talk about the audience perspective, and just maybe some of these things are not new to you, but try to remind us about the digital life that we all have in the digital world that we live in. I have 10 minutes, so I'll make it fast also. Just starting off by saying this is my life. I don't know if you can see it, it's a little dark, but up here, yeah, you can't see it, but I'm at my birth address there, and it's my parents and my elder brothers back in Skive, where I grew up. And these people have, they formed who I am today and the values that I have. My family. Up here, we have two of my friends, Peter and Martin. When I'm in Aarhus, I've lived in Aarhus for 10 years, so when I come back there, these are the people that I meet with and drink a beer with and talk about how life is and where we're going and this kind of stuff. So they're also important to me. And down here, you can't see that at all, but this is some of the other people in my network. I've been a lot involved in volunteer work throughout the past 10 years and met many people there who is still, the ones that I say hello to at the streets and meet with in Copenhagen also. So why am I saying this? Just to say that to me, technology and social media, and actually also performing arts, because I'm not within this thing, is not important, really important. What's important to me is the people around me, and it's what's close to me, and the people that, my family and my friends, are the people that can get me excited, and what I'm really passionate about is most often connected to the networks and the social people around me. Yeah. Yep. Oi. And then we have the phone, because that's my take on the digitalization. That when I have this in my pocket, it's a way of maintaining my relationship with other people. So the technology the mobile phone and the digital technology has become social. And if you can see something, I'd like to show you just a short commercial done by the Telco 3 last year. I'll see if there's sound on it here.
Det er ikke min telefon.
Det er mine pauser, når jeg er på job.
Og nogle gange mit job, når jeg holder pause.
Det er kontakten.
Også den, jeg tror, jeg har mistet. Det er forholdet til min kæreste.
Det er mit barn. Mit børnebørn.
Min hverdag.
Vejen frem og tilbage.
Det sparkede røven. Det er hjertesår.
Og det eneste, jeg vil få hjem efter, hvis jeg kommer afsted uden. De oplevelserne ligger på lur lige rundt om hjørnet.
Og dem, der venter, langt borte. Det er en af de vigtigste ting, du ejer. Men uden et godt netværk er den intet.
And then it gets a commercial. But just to point out what I just said, technology is a social tool, and we're intervened with the technology. I'm not afraid of it, but it's something that I use every day, and it's important to me. It's important because it's what enables me to maintain my relationship with the people that's important to me. Okay, and religion, school, all the institutions are no longer perhaps what defines who I am, but it's the networks that I engage in. And the technology and the mobile phone especially and social media has made it possible for us to engage in a lot of different types of network that creates a new situation, I think, for every industry, also the performing arts industry, if you call it that. I don't know if you do that, but yeah, anyway. This is the Pope. You've seen the picture. This is the Pope on Twitter when he's posted there. This guy's called Benjamin. Have any of you heard of him? From Vejle. He's a 14-year-old kid who has got 1.1 million followers on Instagram. He posted, this is his profile. He posts 10, 12 pictures a day of himself, mainly. He has reached this point because when his cousin, I think it was, showed him Instagram a few years ago, he said, try to hashtag your first picture cute and Bieber. And then okay, so this example makes, at least I have Politikken every weekend, and every weekend there's a high school student or a teacher saying how this is the end of civilization, that things are like this. We are self-obsessed and we are narcissistic, and technology has made us superficial, and so. You could also say, at least to say, I'll take another approach to it and just say that technology has pushed us to be more focused on the present moment than the past or the future. So the different arenas that we engage in has technology, it's not technology that done this, but it has helped push us towards the present and the now, and communicating through all these different platforms what's happening right now. Okay? Does it make sense? No. Okay, we'll have a discussion afterwards because I'm short on time, so I'll just move on. Just to say, do any of you on Facebook? How many of you have a profile on Facebook? Instagram? Snapchat? Hey, cool. Okay, what I'm just was trying to say that when we use these applications on our phones, they are helping us communicate in the moment, and they're helping us sharing what is happening right now. Maybe they're not helping us reflecting on a narrative or making sense of what's happening in the world. Maybe the art can do that. We can have the discussion about that afterwards. But they're helping us okay. I hope you follow. Anyway, like pictures on Instagram, call mom on Skype, search love on Tinder, send smileys and text messages. All these things just happening now. Okay. Very briefly, there was a survey or research project last year saying that 80% of Danish teens answer a text message within 5 minutes. One of it was high school students, and one of them said that I always answer if someone sends me a message on Facebook. It's exactly the same as when people tap me on the shoulder. And again, that just points to the fact that when my mom, when I'm back home in Skive, she said that you're not in the present where we are now. I am, because I'm present with the people who writes me on my phone. It's just not the physical space that I'm in. Okay, anyway, we'll discuss it. Yeah. And it's complicated. Dana Boyd, she's an American internet researcher, just said that teens aren't addicted to social media, they're addicted to each other. Just to come back to my beginning point. Okay, so the insights here would be that we expect participations, we expect that we are able to comment, share, participate, create, and what is finished is not interesting. Friends mean everything. We've lost trust in authorities. And the moment, what's happening right now, is what is important. Okay, this is, again, there are counter reactions and everything, but you could take this away from the picture here. Participation, that we want to be involved. Friends, and we want to do things together, and we want to do it now. I have a few more slides, but I think I'll just stop here. Okay.
thought that the performing arts was where we were going to really find the true present. But now we have another competing point. You find it in the social media. So that's quite interesting. I mean, both the notion of presence, what it is to be present, and also the notion of participation, because this is another thing that we celebrate in theatre. We have this participation, this collaboration, this community, sense of community. So these are actually some of the points where the new technology is questioning our sense of what some of the performing arts qualities, core qualities, consist of. So thank you very much. Just keep that in mind if we have any time to debate, but just, yeah. Now Christopher Engdahl is going to talk about, give some examples of co-creation with the help of digital procedures and strategies.
Just take a moment for the digital aspects to function here. All right. So my name is Christopher Engdahl. I'm a choreographer, and I'm a senior lecturer in dance at Karlstad University. And I'd just like to thank, first of all, Annika Lewis for initially inviting me here, and all of you who've organized these extraordinary days and events here. Thank you. So there are many artistic projects and interesting opportunities when it comes to the context of dance, where I work, and the use of new digital technologies. I'll just present a few small glimpses of what I consider as important initiatives within this area, dealing with global artistic exchange by the use of online communities and also various social media. I'll discuss both my own projects and projects of others. But we'll start here with my project Swedance and this website that I created 5 years ago. This was a social network website that I created as part of a dance research project at Falmouth University in the UK. This network, it consists of about 400, or consisted of, because it's now not active, but it consisted of about 450 members who are dance artists from 26, 27 countries. This website functioned as a sort of an online community for these dance artists. And on this platform, on this website, they had these members, these dance artists, had their own personal profile page, as you see here, for instance, here. Now this is actually Jeanette Ginsler. I think she's actually based in Denmark. Commissioned by Danish Dance Theatre to make dance video, I see here. She posted it 7 hours ago, it says here. But this was maybe in 2009, 2010, something like this. These members, they could share videos with each other. They wrote blogs on various topics within the dance field and the choreographic field. They uploaded photographs to the community. They could chat with each other in different chat rooms. Basically, they could all interact with each other. They could share each other's dance works and discuss each other's dance works. They could share their different artistic processes with each other, make announcements if they had an upcoming performance. And a lot of informal exchange happened through this website. They invited each other to dance festivals that they arranged in their home countries. They, like dance students, used it as a learning resource while doing school projects. And the artists, like the members on the website, they could They could organize themselves. For instance, one group was made on the website by contemporary jazz dancers who wanted to discuss how to develop their genre further. And there was, of course, a lot of exchange made via this community that I, as a creator of the website, simply don't know about and can't control. But in order to create this website, I used the online platform Ning. And Ning is an online service that anyone can use to create their own social network website. And I thought I'd just present 3 projects within the dance field that has used this online service. And Swedance being one of those projects. And the second example of how this Ning online service has been used in the dance field is this. Last year I was co-producing the international dance festival Abundance in Karlstad in Sweden. And the previous producer of this festival wanted to make the application process for the dancers who applied to this festival. She wanted to make it a bit more simple. This producer also wanted to try out what would happen if we made the application process for the dancers a bit more open, in the way that the dancers who applied could see who they were competing with and what kind of dance projects they were competing with when applying to this festival. And then here, in this context, I came to think of this Ning platform service that I've been using before. So I created a new Ning website through which the dancers could apply to the festival and upload their material and link the material to the website. And today, like most dance artists have their work documented digitally, right? They have it on their laptops, they have their works documented on their smartphones, and they make their work available online via, for instance, YouTube or Vimeo. So it was easy for these dance artists to just apply via our website here. And here's how it could look like on this application process. So they just state the name and a short biography and a short description of their dance piece. And they can link to their websites if they have one. And this was, of course, open for anyone to see and still open if you want to go to the abundance.ning.com website. They could link photographs to the sites. I think this is from Flickr. And also videos to the websites of their work. And this is from Vimeo here. And we made like a deal with the dancers who applied to the festival that if they were chosen, if they were invited to the festival, we would keep their biographies and all the material they have uploaded or linked to the website. It would stay on the site until after the festival. And if you're not selected or invited to the festival, we just remove the profile page and all the material from the site. So what happened was that we selected who to come, and then we kept their material on the site and removed the ones who weren't selected. And this meant that after the application process for the festival, this website turned into a sort of more community-ish site. Where we as organizers, of course, could give the festival participant like all the information they needed about the festival. The dancers who were coming to the festival, they could before coming to the festival. They could also update their profile page, so if they had been giving a workshop or presenting a performance somewhere, they could just inform the other festival participants what